Hello and welcome to another Happy Pod. My name is Nathan. As always, I'm joined by Lawrence Hisey. Hello.
Hello. This is I feel like for what we're doing
No
today.
one cares!
Oh,
Lawrence,
there it
why
is.
don't you tell us what this silly little show is all about?
For people that think this ongoing thing is me playing up to it, I genuinely forget every time. It always catches me off guard. Apart from
It's
that
my
1 week, it
favourite
didn't.
running joke now. I love it.
It's not even a joke. It's just you being a dick. There's no wit to it whatsoever.
Lawrence, no one cares about any of this.
All right.
What is this silly little show all about?
This show, Nathan, is where we come and we talk. It's where we come.
This is where we come.
Welcome. No, we're not playing that. This is the show where we talk about all things movies, TVs, pop culture, games, etc., etc. And
You know there is an umbrella term for that, and you said it within everything.
Yeah, I know, but I like to specify that although we haven't done a game in about 80 episodes, we're still partial every now and then to a game.
Yeah.
Trouble is, it's just hard to get me and Nathan to sit down and consume 80 hours of something and line it up perfectly so it's fresh in the memory.
I recently played Ghost of Tsushima.
You
Had a
did.
good time.
You did. You had a good time, yeah. Yeah, we come here, we try and keep things positive when we discuss it. We cut out that toxic stuff, that ongoing discourse that you so distaste. Is that? Can you say that like that? That you have such a distaste for?
Yeah, sure. Whatever. You're horrible at that.
I did my
all
best.
of that.
You didn't take over from me.
Yeah, well, I thought I'd give you a shot, and clearly I learned my lesson. I should not give you chances.
No,
either,
it's true.
because it doesn't work out. Anyway, basically, this is the show where we try to talk about all things in the realm of pop culture without the ongoing toxic discourse. We don't have a good time. No, I'm sorry. We have a great time. We have a fucking amazing
He's how the
time.
mighty have fallen
But
right here.
well, shut the fuck up. But we have a good time doing it, but we don't always succeed. That's what I was trying to say. But the other way around. Look, I'm tired. It's late.
It's no later than we normally record.
No, I know. It's the exact same time. But I woke up like 40 minutes ago from a little evening.
Have you
nap,
been sleeping
so-
since we spoke on the phone earlier?
Yes, of course I have. I watched Andor,
Ooh.
which was great, by the way. Really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And then I went to bed.
Oh. So you haven't risen refreshed. You're sluggish now. Is that what you're saying?
I feel like I was sluggish, but
Yeah.
I've been awake long enough where it's like starting to wear off a bit.
Tell me about the late afternoon nap culture, because whenever I've done it in the past, specifically when I was at uni, I don't do it at all anymore. I just always but I just
Someone's doing well for themselves.
no. If anything, I'm not having a restful nap, so I'm not. But I wake up from it every time, and I just felt like shit.
Yeah, it's not great. You do.
Oh,
Yeah.
and you choose to do that, do you?
Yeah, let me be clear. This isn't good for me.
Oh, okay.
And I'm
Okay.
aware this is not good for me. It's the depression, my guy.
Oh, I see.
Sometimes you just gotta have a nap. It'd be like that.
Suddenly, joking around this subject became a minefield.
By the way, on the subject, November is Men's Mental Health Awareness Month. This is serious as well.
Oh, God.
So check in on your boys, give them a WhatsApp, see how they're doing. Something we feel strongly about, I guess.
No, not me. Fuck them.
Oh, okay. Fuck them.
No,
friends,
it was-
Lawrence
no,
said.
no.
That makes sense. That makes sense coming from you, actually.
I'll have you know.
That makes
I'll have you know. I've been
perfect
really
sense.
proactive with nurturing our friendship recently. I've been putting in a conscious effort to text you back more often. I hope it shows.
Only because I called you out.
No, it's only because it's November, Nathan. Come next month, I'm gonna fuck you again.
Come December, it'll all be over. Anyway, what are we here to do today, Lawrence?
I'll tell you what we're not here to do. We're not here to do Brian and Charles because
Yeah.
I made a.
We lied to you.
We didn't.
Lawrence lied to you.
No, we didn't lie to you, but then we did change our minds the very next day because I watched a film. The film is the title. The film is Man of Steel. And I texted Nathan. I think I voice noted you or something along the lines of.
No, this isn't what happened.
What
You
happened?
didn't text me. You didn't voice note me. You did not say anything to me in any way.
Oh, I know.
You
I
went
did.
on your silly little Twitter account.
Yeah.
And you tweeted. And keep in mind, this was approximately 3 or 4 hours after the two of us were on the phone making fun of the movie, as we often do. And then I'm scrolling through my silly little timeline, and who do I happen to come across but Lawrence Heisey, the famed editor himself, tweeting out, I watched Man of Steel and I loved it.
It was
And I
quirky
like,
as well. It was like that.
What is this?
No, you weren't like that. There was nothing on your end until we have a shared note. And now, if you have an Apple product and you use Notes, you'll know that if you have a shared note, you'll get a little notification pop up when someone has amended it. And what Nathan had done is just filled in a blank spot and added Man of Steel. So I knew from that moment on, if Nathan is willing to put himself through Man of Steel, a movie which I know he does not enjoy at all,
Nope.
he wants to specifically go to war with me about something that I now do enjoy. So,
Spoiler alert, that hasn't changed.
oh, good. Not with the rewatch. But Nathan, before we do any of that, what we do here is we do a little question. I always start the podcast, or sometimes I get 8 minutes in, and then I say to you, hello, here is this theme song. Another happy question. And once that theme song is played, Nathan, what I do is I ask you a question about something we're talking about. It could be a hypothetical. It could be a would you rather. It could be a yes or a no. It could be anything with a question mark after it. I can see you want to talk.
Before you ask the question, let me ask you a question.
Oh, God.
Did you spend longer than 30 seconds thinking about the question this week?
No, but there's a reason for it before you roll your eyes. No, it's because it's genuinely kind of like last week's. It's an obvious question. It's not about Man of Steel because I know we're going to get into all the details of it.
All right.
This is something. So, like I just said, I watched Man of Steel a long, long time ago and went, I don't like that. I don't have a place for that for me. Doesn't serve me. I won't watch it again. Until I did watch it again, and I changed my mind. And basically, my question to you, in simple terms, is there a piece of art, it could be film, TV, a game, something you've completed and formed an entire opinion on the entire body of it? So I'm not you can't get like an episode in and be like, I didn't like that, and then at the end of the season you like it. You have to have watched or played the entire thing, formed a concrete opinion on it, and then completely U-turned on it, seen it in a completely different contextual light.
Got you.
Cool.
Got my answer as well.
All right, where do you want to go with this? Because I feel like what this is going to be...
you start us off, because you apparently love this movie.
Okay.
And you love your god, Zack Snyder, your cult leader.
Oh, yeah, actually,
so please.
this is where I'll go with this. I want to point out, so this version of Superman has appeared in Man of Steel, in Batman v Superman, in Justice League, and then Zack Snyder's Justice League. To my knowledge... Oh, and... Have you seen?
And Shazam?
No, he hasn't. Henry Cavill's Superman has not appeared in Shazam. Muscly guy on Warner Brothers lot was on Shazam.
It wasn't played by Henry Cavill, but it was Henry Cavill's Superman.
Okay, he also didn't say anything. I'm not going to count that as...
No, it's a canon. It counts.
Okay, I guess that's fair. And now that we've established that canon...
And then, of course, spoiler alert for the latest DC movie.
Yes.
But he's in that.
He rocks up in that. Again, I think he only says like two lines.
He rocks up.
Oh, very good. I like that. That was...
Bad movie, probably. I haven't watched it.
No, good movie. Good movie. Had a good time. I'm ready to be a contrarian whenever you dust off your shoes, put them on, and finally step outside your house to go and watch something in the cinema. It won't be Black Adam when you do that, will it?
No, not at all.
Right. So, yeah.
It'll be My Policeman starring Harry Styles.
I haven't heard anything about that, other than it's got a TARDIS in it.
Is it?
Otherwise known as what the TARDIS is based on.
Oh, no, it has got... Yeah, I saw someone on TikTok being like, y'all actually have those in the UK?
Oh, fuck.
Like, it's not just from Doctor Who?
The Disney Plus release of Doctor Who is really going to do wonders for that fandom, isn't it? It's not going to go well. But no, the point I'm making is, when I am referencing... Let's say in a broad sense, I address Superman in this podcast... Yes. I am specifically mentioning Superman as he is portrayed in the hit DC movie Man of Steel. We can talk about the context surrounding the other movies, but my opinion on those firmly hasn't changed.
Okay. I have no plans to talk about those movies either.
Okay.
So.
I know I did pre-warn you to say
you did.
keep it lasered on Man of Steel. Right, basically I sat down to watch this, hadn't enjoyed it before, have only picked it up really since... maybe like a year after I first watched it, and then since some clips for editing projects. Never watched it since, I would say 2014 at latest 2015 was the last time I sat down to watch this properly. until the other day. I sat down, watched it, and in my mind I went in with the usual stuff, which I even spoke about with you on the phone. You called me about a quarter of the way through watching it, and for about 20 minutes we just ripped the piss out of the characterization of Jonathan Kent, the destruction of Metropolis, and all of that. And I was still firmly with you at this point. Right? But then, Nathan, I decided to take a step back and indulge me being film cunt here. I know you're furious because Iron Man didn't show up. Nick Fury didn't come and recruit Man of Steel at the end.
Well, that's my issue.
Yeah. Right, no, so right, firstly, let's talk about Zack Snyder. If we go through these point by point, because I don't want to give you my broad opinion on every single topic yet. So Zack Snyder directed this. He is known for having a very unique visual style, but a lot of people say that he prioritizes that way over character substance and etc. Like making
exactly what I would say.
Yeah. Well, where are you at with how he directed this? Because can I tell people what you sent me yesterday?
Oh, yeah.
So Nathan finished the movie, and I know when he specifically doesn't like something because he'll go out of his way to text me afterwards rather than just wait for the conversation we're about to have on it. And it was a picture of the directed by credit, which obviously says Zack Snyder. Nathan crossed out Zack Snyder and put in, and sorry Zack if you're listening, an edgy cunt instead. Where are you at with how he directs this?
I have made it known many a time on this podcast and in other places that me personally, I am not a fan of Zack Snyder's work.
Yeah.
I'm not. If he was a cinematographer or something, great stuff. I'd do that all day long.
Yeah.
His directing and his story, it's just not for me at all. Because exactly what you said, it's style over substance, and sometimes even the style isn't that great. Nothing wrong with colour, Zach. I know, fucking hell. This movie, if you're a big fan of the colour grey, boy have I got the movie for you.
To play devil's advocate on that, the same can be said about a lot of Marvel stuff.
Yes, it can. Okay. And I'll quite happily levy that criticism against a lot of Marvel stuff.
Alright, fine. Okay, cool.
Okay.
I want to make sure that you're not coming across hypocritical.
No.
Yeah.
No, there are a lot of Marvel movies which are grey and dull. But I don't think there are a lot of Marvel movies that are this grey and dull.
I suppose the Marvel movies that
Marvel
are grey and dull
movies are just a little bit flat. But this is like stylized to be muted and bleak, and just everything is just so depressing.
Yeah.
Which is what you want in a Superman.
You're gonna hate me by the time this is over. Yeah, all right. So you're not a fan of his work, but in this movie specifically, what is it about his directing style that irks you?
It's not necessarily his directing style that irks me. I'm not a fan of it, and it doesn't help. It's just more the choices that were made.
Okay.
And again, story should always come first, in my opinion. And story massively suffers in this movie. There are some choices made which I cannot fathom why this decision was made and why this was approved. I cannot fathom how you can take 70, 80 years of comic book lore and history and just throw it all out of the window and say, no, I can do better than that, I reckon. And then just completely ignore everything about it.
Right, yeah.
Especially once you have what is literally the fucking defining archetype of superhero characters as well.
Yeah.
This is the blueprint. This is where it all came from.
Yeah.
And then we're like, nah, let's just do something else, because why not?
Okay. One thing I would say to that, and it's going to be hard for me to disagree with a lot of the stuff you're saying, because your criticisms with Zack Snyder I agree with. I think his directing stands out in this movie way more than his others. I completely take all of your points in pretty much everything else he's directed. I think the story is often sacrificed, and weirdly sacrificed in a way that kind of seems too complex as well. It seems like there's no focus on story, but the story is the driving factor behind everything, and it's too complicated.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, but in this, I think my main rebuttal to that whole point was this does a good job of recontextualizing Superman in a world that is, and I really want to avoid sounding like a knob, but a world that is more kind of like one-on-one counterpart with the world that we actually live in, because
the real world.
Yeah, and this gets explored in the later films, and I don't agree with how it's explored in the later films, but in this, and especially I can kind of make my main point with the characterization of Jonathan Kent in this, and Jor-El to an extent as well, is that I think, yes, wild changes have been made, completely wild changes, and maybe there is part of Zack Snyder's hubris in there to be like, I can do better than that. But I think more time than a lot of people will care to look for has gone into how Jonathan and Jor-El frame who Clark Kent is in this movie.
I want to know your point.
Okay.
I want to know like what it was that made you go, "Oh, this is genius," or whatever.
There wasn't a moment. There wasn't like a moment where it clicked and I went, "Oh fuck yeah, this is the best thing ever." And I still don't think it's the best thing ever. I like it a lot more than I did. A lot more.
But why?
Right. So let's do the Jonathan Kent thing then.
All right.
Wild changes have been made in this. Jonathan Kent, we even joked about the line where he was like, should I have let a school bus full of kids die? And he's like, maybe. which is
It's a line that deserves to be made fun of.
It is a line that deserves to be made fun of, and I don't think the dialogue does it favours, and especially kind of like how Kevin Costner plays it is very like nonchalant, which maybe wasn't the best choice. Jonathan Kent should have a bit of a stronger reaction to being like, no, I'm not saying kill kids. All right, no, I think Clark Kent has always been the son part of his parents who raised him, right? Jonathan and Martha Kent. And I think in this, the decision to change Jonathan Kent to a more kind of subdued, fearful man makes Clark's arc in this more interesting in a way that he isn't the paragon of good and he has to learn to become that. Superman has always been kind of referred to as like a stagnant character. Like a lot of people say it's hard to make a Superman movie because he's boring. Although I disagree with it, there's not a lot you can do unless you make him a bit more miserable and a bit more glum. Because
Disagree with that massively.
Go on.
I don't think you need to make Superman dull or glum or in any way. You just need to find a way to depower him slightly, or do something else, or just making him be. There's a trend at the moment, and by at the moment I mean over the last like 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
Of the quote unquote evil Superman.
Yeah.
Fucking Brightburn, Invincible's dad, J.K. Simmons, Invincible.
Yeah.
Homelander in The Boys. It's a thing at the moment. I'm pretty sick of it, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
You could argue that some of Zack Snyder's movies would also lean into that trend.
To a degree. Yeah.
Yeah. I am quite frankly sick of it. Superman is like I said, he's the ultimate superhero. He's the first, he's the blueprint. He's the character that has always been for, he says truth, justice, and what was the American way? I think now it's like equality for all, some weird shit.
Yeah.
He's just someone that ultimately embodies hope and just doing the right thing and being kind and all that sort of stuff. That's Superman down to a T.
Yeah.
I don't think to make him interesting, you don't need to change that. You don't need to erase all those values and make him bad or make him evil. Sure, you can make him flawed and have layers and levels to him and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
But you don't need to abandon those principles and then be like, oh no, but we're going to do something really interesting.
I don't think this movie does abandon those principles, though. I think
I do massively.
No, I know, and I know why. At sake of you screaming General Zod's famed line "heresy" at me, I think he actually finds those morals further towards the arse end of the movie, which I'd picture you disagreeing with. No, look, the point I'm making about Jonathan, firstly, I think he's a healthy mix between how he was raised by Jor-El and Jonathan, in terms of Jonathan's a reserved guy. He kind of informs Clark from a young age to hide himself away. The world isn't ready for what he can do. And I guess the further movies prove him right. But in this one, I think he represents, to an enormous degree, of mankind taking ownership of the abilities that have been brought here and funneling them through a channel of control. Every time Superman interacts with just a figure of authority from Earth, it's about what he can do for them. Is he on their side? Is he, going to fight for them? Is he going to fix this problem? Is he going to, is he okay with being monitored? Is he going to come willingly when we arrest him? Blah, 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 blah. And I think a lot of the movie is him. I think Jonathan is deliberately portrayed as shit in this so that it can service Clark's arc of he has to unlearn. He has to unlearn the almost, I don't want to say bad behavior for lack of a better term, but this warped view of what mankind is capable of at its best. He has to unlearn that because he's learned from the beginning of his upbringing to be fearful. You see him, he's kind of like a...
Wait, what do you mean? Hold on, go back.
So
I'm confused now.
Okay, so basically I think Jonathan deliberately raises Clark in a way that is to not suppress his power, but subconsciously claim ownership over this gift to humanity. Basically, Jonathan represents the self-serving human that wants to know what Clark will do for them rather than what Clark wants to do.
And why is that good?
Because it gives Superman an arc. I think it's I get, this is my point about the stagnant character thing. It gives Clark an opportunity. Firstly, it allows the movie to frame itself in a world that is, like I said, a one-on-one counterpart with the world that we live in, which is cynical and doubtful and miserable to a degree. Yeah. It's a world that wouldn't welcome an alien like this, especially not in a hopeful format, which is how we're used to seeing Superman.
I mean, God forbid having escapism, right?
No. But you have to. I think if you agree, I know that, but I think trying to engage with this movie on its terms, I think I had a much easier time with it. They didn't bring in Zack Snyder to make it a big let's all have a jolly up and a sing song and a happy time. And I think that the movie is Clark attempting to realize and reconcile with, if he follows what Jor-El says, he will only ever be seen as a symbol of a power. Jor-El literally says he'll be a god to them. Yeah. Even if they wanted to take him down, they couldn't. Blah blah blah. Who could possibly stop him? And on the flip side of that coin, Jonathan makes basically his entire thing is hide yourself away. The world isn't ready for you, to the point where he very dramatically kills himself or opts into his own death because of his belief that the world isn't ready. He's those two ideas clashing. Clark is the embodiment of those two ideas not working as separate ideas. And he takes what he's learned from Jonathan and what he learns from Jor-El later on when he sees his kind of hologram dad thing. And that gives him a compelling story where he figures out who he is in this and realizes that, humanity is worth fighting for. And even if he is revered as a god or feared, it's on his terms. He's chosen to come out of that light of the hiding. Do you know what I mean?
I do. So what you just said there, here's the part that I have an issue with it.
Yeah.
Okay. Where you say Clark realizes that humanity is worth fighting for. Okay. Clark has been on Earth for 33 fucking years.
Yeah.
He's lived on Earth his entire life, apart from 15 days at the beginning.
Yeah.
All right. He should already know that Earth he's not brand new to this planet. No. He's not here and he's like, well, what's this? What are humans? I don't know what a human is.
Yeah.
Why should I fight for you? He knows. He has seen the worst of humanity and he's seen the best of humanity in his 33 years, okay? The best of humanity is supposed to be Pa Kent, Jonathan Kent, all right?
Yeah.
And nothing you can say can convince me.
I know.
That what happens in this movie is not just the dumbest fucking thing ever. All right?
Yeah, all right.
Because it's just fundamental. Look, okay, art is subjective. Okay, there's no right or wrong. Okay, you can't. I'm trying to be generous before I say this is wrong, because it is wrong. But
no, I don't think I'm objectively right. I want to hear your opinion on it.
I'm not saying you're objectively wrong. I'm saying the movie is. But... Look, okay. Jonathan Kent is supposed to, coming from the history of like fucking Superman, supposed to die of natural causes. The point of Jonathan Kent's death is that, well, first of all, the point of Jonathan Kent is, like I said, he's supposed to be the best of humanity. Both Mara and Pa Kent are supposed to raise Clark in a way that shows him and teaches him those values, being kind, being helping to others, doing whatever he can and all that sort of stuff. The thing about Pa Kent is that when Superman does, get into his teen years and be a little bit cocky and start to feel self-assured of himself because he is coming to grips with his powers, Jonathan Kent has a heart attack and he dies.
Yeah.
And even with everything that Clark can do, there's fuck all he can do to stop that.
Yeah.
It's not within his power at all. He has to sit there helplessly and watch while his dad dies, okay?
Yeah.
That teaches him essentially to get a grip on his powers and to not worry, or that's probably the wrong choice of words, but just to focus on what he can and help the people how he can.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
That's basically it. What does this do? This is like if fucking Peter Parker comes home from school, sees Uncle Ben sat on his bed with a shotgun against his head and pulls the trigger before he can do anything. It's like if fucking Alfred killed Thomas and Martha Wayne so he could steal all their money and run away to the Bahamas. It's just it does not influence the character in any way whatsoever.
I think it does.
Other than it's just like, oh, you should do the exact opposite of what your character is supposed to do. You should never help people. Stay away. Let me feed my own ego for 2 minutes and try to save this fucking dog, which I can't do because I'm old.
Yeah.
But fuck it, I'll save everyone. You, this 6 foot young hunky man who can move very fast, not even with super speed, just as a normal person, can move a lot faster and is a lot stronger than me, a 60-year-old man. You stay over there. I'll go save this fucking dog.
Yeah.
Why?
I agree that his death sequence is very Zack Snyder. It's the most dramatic thing that it could have been at the time is what he decided to go for.
It's easily preventable.
Yeah, it is.
It is so easily preventable.
And it's purposely IMAX and it's purposely a fucking tornado because why wouldn't it be? I get all of that. My point that I'm making is that I do think it serves a purpose. I think alright, it's not the comic accurate purpose, but what is the point of having an adaptation if it's always a one-on-one counterpart of what we've seen and what we've had?
It doesn't have to be a one-on-one counterpart, but completely throwing out the fucking principles and the values of the story altogether is something entirely different.
I just think it serves... I see where you're coming from, and I do get it, and maybe I'm more accepting of this because I'm not really a Superman fan. I don't have history of reading his comics. I'd never watched Smallville. I just don't have nostalgia or care for Jonathan Kent and the characterization of him. Like, I'm sure I would feel differently if someone had taken Uncle Ben in a completely wild direction like this, like the shotgun to the head, as you call it. I think that it teaches Superman the valuable lesson of the choices put onto him and the fears instilled into him should be kept at arm's length, and no matter what the public perception of him will be, and maybe this is completely wrong, maybe I'm going to fucking enrage Superman fans by saying this, I think Clark learning to keep humanity somewhat at arm's length in this movie is interesting.
I fundamentally disagree with that.
That's fair.
He is human. He's not. But he's been raised as human for 33 years. Why should he keep humanity at arm's length? He should embrace that side of him. He even says in this movie, this movie even attempts to embrace that side of him. He says at the end, I've lived in Kansas all my life. I'm about as American as you can be.
Yeah.
So he clearly does embrace that side. Why should he keep humanity at arm's length?
Not in the sense of like he doesn't give a shit about them, but more. And I don't want to keep referencing what happens beyond this, but like, this is not today's world is not the world that Superman was written into. Right?
No,
it's very much
different.
it's very much a it's very much like a God-fearing world, and I'm completely acknowledging that for a Superman fan, you are right.
Okay.
But I still think this film accomplishes a cohesive narrative arc and a point. And I don't think it should be written off as like, this is a fucking shit film.
But do you not think the fact that it's a Superman movie, it has some kind of level
But it's still,
of
I think
responsibility?
it still lands the ending in the sense of like, I think...
Wrong.
No. I just know this is only going to get worse. I think it lands the ending in the sense that he does end up and
Don't even start me on the end.
Right,
I've
no.
got stuff to say.
I know. I think this movie does end up on a good point of like he
Bafflingly so.
he joins the planet. He wants to explore he wants
Welcome to the planet.
Haha.
Get it?
No, fuck off. I like that.
Yeah, welcome to the planet, man who has lived here for 33 years.
No, but it's the planet. Yes, he's lived here, but he's lived here in fear and in hiding. Now he's...
Why? Why has he lived there in fear and
Right,
in
I'm not
hiding?
gonna...
Because his insane dad, fucking... his insane conspiracy theorist dad whispered in his ear for his entire life, telling him, if you even fucking think about revealing yourself, they are going to destroy you and your entire family. So, like, don't even look at a dying child. Just run the other way, you coward. That's what you should do.
See, I just think he finds the healthy middle point. Jor-El encourages...
There is no healthy middle
No.
point.
I think Jor-El encourages him to soar above everyone and proclaim himself as a god and fucking guide them towards a better future. And I think Jonathan Kent, on the flip side of the coin, encourages him to remain almost too grounded to earth in terms of be like us, don't be who you are, because the world's not ready to accept who you are. And I think that Clark Kent's arc in this, as evidenced by the fact that most of the movie is his story of him growing up, right? There's actually like a couple of days that we get to see in terms of like the present day of what's happening in Clark's life. There's not a lot of plot is dedicated to that. It's about him discovering who he is. And I think this movie would have honestly been better received if Batman v Superman had taken it in a more optimistic direction after this.
Fundamentally disagree.
That's fine. That's what, right. We're not going to agree on the handling of this.
What do you think of Krypton?
What, like the opening half hour Krypton stuff? I like it. I think it's.
I also like it.
Yeah.
That's the only good part of the movie.
That's not bad. It's half an hour. It's a fair big chunk of the movie that you're a fan
It's about 20 minutes or so.
Right.
And like it's definitely the most entertaining part. It's visually interesting. There's a lot of Zack Snyder stuff.
Yeah.
You get to do some very cool stuff. There's the great... I like the fact that the Kryptonians have just completely fucked up their planet.
Yeah.
And just the point of no return.
They're a bunch of old, weird science racists.
Yeah, and they're all just sat there like, no, it's fine.
Yeah,
just don't even worry about it. You don't need to worry.
Jor-El, this is the 5th time this week you've come in here telling us this.
Ignore that fucking explosion out of the way. It's fine, all right. It's fine.
Yeah, I like the Krypton stuff in this. I very much like the messaging of how it's a not so subtle climate change allegory and everything like that. But I quite like the fact that it's technically Jor-El and Zod should be on the same side of the coin. They should be fighting this war together against the Krypton higher-ups. Who,
unfortunately, Zod's racist.
But unfortunately, Zod is just a massive racist. But Zod is a further example of Krypton's failure because he was bred to be racist. He was born and raised to hold Kryptonians. Is it Kryptonians?
Kryptonians.
He was born and raised to hold them in a higher regard. Which explains why he just has no time or care for swatting humans like flies and everything like that. No, I think all of that stuff is good. I think it's always funny to and I believe, I think either James or Mason have said this before. It is hilarious to imagine Kryptonians going about their day on this world because there's nothing going on.
Yeah.
If it's not plot focused, it's not in the room. Like, there's not a lamp, there's not a TV.
That's true. In that room, there's just like the big baby spaceship thing.
Yeah,
and that's it.
Like, if that's a nursery, no wonder every Kryptonian is just miserable as sin and fucking hates it. Like,
that's funny,
they all grow up miserable, sour racists because there's nothing to fucking do.
That makes sense. They grow up as racists, and then when they're old enough, they get put in their dick-shaped rocket and sent to their family.
Only if they commit war crimes.
Which they will.
Which I'd argue, if you were to just take away the racism,
yeah,
Zod is absolutely correct.
Look, here's what I like about this movie. Okay, opening 20 minutes.
Yeah,
good. Jor-El, good. Henry Cavill is good at playing. He's good. He's a good actor. Okay, I like Henry Cavill. It's just the characterization, which isn't his fault.
No,
it's the writing.
He's very suitable for this iteration.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Henry Cavill, good. Michael Shannon, incredible.
Yeah, top tier.
Really, really fucking good.
Yeah.
That's about it though.
I will find him.
Yeah,
good line,
and he does.
And he definitely does.
He does, and I actually do like that scene where, it's a very tense scene where the Kryptonians get to Earth and then they have the message and they're like, "You harbor one of ours on your planet.
Yeah,
he looks like you, but he's not you."
It's good.
It's a good scene.
And
tense.
And this is why.
Dramatic.
This is why I think maybe a lot of my points can be summed up, and I know that you. I don't know if you'll necessarily agree with this, but I know that
probably not.
But I know that's right. Before you listen to this conversation, it's fine. You can have a preference on directors. Zack Snyder is not Nathan's director preference. He doesn't make.
Are you talking to me?
Huh?
Are you talking to me?
No. The audience, the listeners in general.
All right.
You're very, very entitled to just not like a director for the work that they've produced. That's fine. Yeah. It doesn't mean that they're shit at what they do. It means a lot of the time. Nathan pulled a face. It just means that a lot of the time, you don't share the one-on-one kind of vision that they're going for. Their movies aren't for you. You know, just like not everyone likes the same flavor of cake or whatever. It's those moments, you're harboring one of ours. Those moments, just top tier stuff. Incredible in terms of how it's shot, how it's framed.
I don't know if it's top tier. It's good,
right?
But
I think that there's. This is gonna be a difficult one, isn't it? I just think that there's, when it comes to like superhero movies, even if you don't agree with the choices in this, which you clearly don't, and I don't agree with every single one of them. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot of passion put into making this, into making it look the way it does, flow the way it does, work on a story level the way it does. It's not like it doesn't really have like a traditional 3-act structure. It's been thought about in a time isn't linear kind of way. Chris Nolan probably helped with that. I think he was a producer or an exec producer on this. So that, it's definitely right. It's definitely gone to the Batman Begins school of how to make a movie. But my,
to its detriment.
I disagree. I disagree. I think seeing Superman grow up on Earth is a really interesting place to put us. Seeing how the surroundings of like how he's taking in too much. His senses are too heightened to comfortably live here as a child. That must have put him at odds with the kids, which is why I kind of disagree with your point about he's been here for 33 years. And I know he factually has.
That's a fact.
Yeah, he has.
He
has, but it's been very difficult for him to see the humanity, for him to see the good in humanity when he spent a lot of that time. Pretty much every time you see you see Clark Kent in a flashback, someone is having a fucking scrap with him or trying to push him around, trying to just treat him like a bit of shit. And a lot of the things that you see him doing is taking the high road or, retaliating to a degree, but not physically harming anyone, never punishing someone physically. And you see him saving people. You see the oil thing at sea. He saves the people in that. He deliberately doesn't fucking hit any of the kids. He saves the school bus.
Which all of this is stuff that he should do.
Yeah.
I'm not disagreeing with that in any way. This is all stuff that he should do. The trouble is, you then have John Kent going, no, you shouldn't have done that.
Clark, get in here and have your beatings. You shouldn't. You can't be saving children.
That's the trouble with it, okay?
Yeah.
And he has been there 33 years. Yeah, sure. A lot of that time he was trying to get to grips with his abilities and figuring out who he was and that kind of stuff. But what kid isn't trying to figure out who they are? Sure,
I think they've had a different experience.
No, yeah. They can't see through your skin,
Yeah.
but they still... It's all just a puberty metaphor. Kids all go through weird stuff that they're fucking trying to get to grips with.
All of the kids are going through that at the same time, obviously. But he's not... It's not puberty, is it? He's trying to control the atmosphere being difficult to breathe. He's trying to remove a constant ringing in his ear. He's trying to, like... It just... I don't know.
And Scott Summers is trying to stop lasers coming out of his eyes.
No, he's not. He wears a pair of glasses and jobs are good un.
No, yeah, that's a solution
Yeah.
that comes about. But at first, when his powers manifest, he's in a school and he's like, oh, I don't know what's happening here. Oops, I've destroyed half the school.
I'm not disagreeing with you on Scott Summers. I don't know. All right.
The thing I'm trying to say is it's just okay. Maybe I'm going to better it the wrong way. The reason I like Superman.
Yeah.
Well, there's a story of Superman that I really like. Superman Up in the Sky. It's a 6-part issue. It's nothing really special. Nothing, grand. It's not like Death of Superman or fucking anything like that.
Yeah.
It's just a pretty much bog standard Superman story.
Just a run-of-the-mill issue thing.
Yeah. A girl is kidnapped from Earth, and Superman goes off into space, defeats the alien villain, saves her, brings her back. All right? The last issue is pretty much mostly Superman and this girl flying through space, going back to Earth while she asks him a whole bunch of questions.
Mm-hmm.
She asks him stuff like, who would win in a fight between you and Batman? He says Batman because he feels like he really needs it, which is quite funny. She asks him about Wonder Woman, about the Flash, about like who his favorite Robin is, all this sort of stuff, like just a typical inquisitive kid.
Yeah.
And when they get back to Earth, he's like, all right, glad you're safe. Do you have any other questions before I go? And she's like, no, I'm pretty good. And he's like, really? And she's like, you probably thought I'd want to know why you went and saved me, why you left everything behind just to save me. But I already know the answer to that. It's because you're Superman. That's it. Just that's it. And then they have a hug, and then they go their separate ways.
Yeah.
And stuff. And that's always stuck with me, because that's what Superman is.
Okay.
It's just someone who will leave everything behind to save one single child.
But do you not think it would have been more interesting if he smashed her head into a building?
No, I think Zack Snyder thinks it would be.
All right. That's fair. It's fair. And like I said, I don't have those experiences with Superman, which probably makes me the ideal person to enjoy this, because when I look at it from a filmmaking craft perspective, I go, this is impressive, right? Zack Snyder is not always for me. I happen to dislike most of his movies. He's very talented at what he does. He does have a fantastic eye for what makes visual spectacle. I think that, his stories can be sometimes a bit heavy-handed, to say the least, but I think in this it's serviceable, and that was definitely thanks to guiding hands. I think Chris Nolan is an infinitely better director, even if I don't agree with all of his movies and etc. I just think, right, the destruction of Metropolis. Let's do it.
Yeah, let's do it.
Right.
Because for me, this is the biggest crime of the movie.
Yeah. And that's fair.
John Kent is pretty bad. Like, that's war crime number 2. But this is just...
This is up there with breaking the Geneva Convention right here.
This is unexcusable.
Okay.
This is just... Everything about this third act is just... Why? Why?
I said this to you...
I cannot understand the choices and decisions that were made in the writers' room or whatever.
Yeah.
When they're all like sitting around on a whiteboard and they thought, what if we have the greatest superhero of all time?
Yeah.
The one who truly embodies hope.
The paragon of joy and happiness.
The paragon of joy and justice and hope. What if we have him just kill everyone?
Right, but it's... Okay. Can I get... I want to join you in making fun of this to a degree. So can I give you the reasons why I don't think it's excusable, but I think I know the idea that was coming across?
I mean, you can say what people have said to me in the past, and then I'll say to you why I think that's dumb. But sure, go ahead.
Do you think that I'm going to say what people have said to you in the past?
Maybe. I don't know. We'll see.
Maybe. All right, I just think when it comes down to... Right, we've seen how Superman conducts himself in this specific movie.
Yes.
When it comes down to something he can manage and he can handle.
Yeah.
I.e., a bunch of weak Kryptonians coming onto his planet being like, oh, fuck, I don't like this. This is, you know, when like your ears pop when you take off in a plane. Yeah. That's what they're getting times 100, and they're like, oh, I'm not a fan of this whatsoever. He is able to beat them up. And in that sequence, we see him coming to terms with how he can be this figure of good, and we see the army coming to terms with that as well, in terms of is the guy in blue helping? Like, maybe we should stop trying to Apache helicopter him to death. Like, maybe we should let him do his thing. We see how he saves a lot of army personnel that are just being thrown at walls, right? What?
That group of soldiers are the only people that he saves.
Yeah. I know.
In the final part of the movie.
No, I know.
Apart from the family, I guess.
This, I mean, in a roundabout way. This is the. I'm talking about the Smallville fight. You know the one I mean?
Yeah, I know. Yeah. The one that's outside that IHOP.
Yeah.
And then inside.
Inside the IHOP. And then there's no
God,
IHOP.
I want an IHOP right now.
I don't. It got destroyed.
No, I still want IHOP.
Oh, okay.
Why do I want IHOP?
What's the other one? There's another thing in this as well.
Sears. It's Sears.
Is it Sears? Okay.
It's Sears, it's IHOP, and I tell you what, there's some great shots of Lois Lane's Nikon camera.
Oh, there is. That's what I was thinking of. When you see the lens. Yeah, that's... no, right, so you see him saving those people, but more importantly, the point I'm more making is it's contained. It's small, it's within one area... No, right. But it's on a street. It's on a street.
It's more contained than Metropolis, yeah.
Yeah.
I'll give you that.
Right. But it's on a street. It's fucking... It's a street.
It's a street that gets decimated, but yeah, sure.
Okay.
It's on a street.
Okay.
Also, shout out to the US military for just dropping fucking... for just
bombs.
greenlighting bombs and fucking 50 cal guns straight onto a civilian fucking street.
No, I get it. But I think when we see how Superman is in his element and when he can handle something, we see him trying. And remember, this is the first thing he's ever in his fucking life had to deal with in terms of...
There it is. That's what people say.
No, but that's not my excuse for Metropolis.
This is his first day of Superman.
No. I don't think that's reasonable, because he knows he can fly and shit.
He knows his own strength.
Yeah, he knows what he's about. He finds it out literally earlier on in the movie. Side point, I miss when superhero movies, like, maybe it's an origin thing specifically, but I miss when they took time and moments to show the big life-changing things, like when Iron Man learns to fly for the first time, big moment in a film, which I liked. When Superman learns he can fly, I thought that was great. Good stuff. But yeah, I think it's not so much as the first day of Superman, it's more, this is something in his ballpark that he can handle, and he still fucks it up to a degree. Right? Because he's not great. and there's a lot of people trying to kill him. And he's trying to do a lot of things and even understand what the fuck is happening for a large portion of it. My point about the ending and the destruction of Metropolis is not even plot-based, really. I think I can excuse it because I know what Zack Snyder was trying to do in terms of he's a director that thrives off of big concept, high concept ideas. And this battle, for me, the way I saw it symbolized and played out, was it isn't, I better save small town Kansas, USA. It's these people are literally changing the nature and atmosphere of planet Earth.
Yeah.
And they're not going down without a fight. Like I've given them a 1-2 punch and nothing's working. I would agree with you more on your point if it was like an Omni-Man in Invincible situation where you actively saw Superman going out of his way to needlessly slaughter people, holding people's heads in front of trains and shit like that.
Yeah, no, he's not intentionally killing anyone, but kills a lot of people.
But right, and I think...
And almost seems not to be bothered by it at all.
I think he's bothered. I think he gets bothered.
I don't think he is. I feel like the only person whose death he's actually bothered about is fucking Zod's.
I think that ending sequence, the where he kind of falls to his knees in despair, I think that's more about everything he's just been forced to do. I don't think he gives a fuck about, I've just killed the last surviving member of my race other than me. I don't think he gives a shit about any of that.
I don't think he does either, but...
I think it's more, there's blood on my hands. I fucked it. Like, and I've been reduced to someone that had an impossible choice to make, which was sacrifice what I believe in to save someone innocent.
And you know what? That would have been interesting, okay? That would have been... no, genuinely.
Yeah.
That would have actually, if they held on to that would have actually been a genuinely interesting way to go on with this movie. And if you end it with a Superman who realizes what he's done and who has to now deal with the uncalculable death toll and the amount of blood that is dripping from his hands. If you actually have a Superman like that and they actually followed it through, that would have been genuinely interesting. The problem is the very next scene, it's as if none of that has happened. They're just like at the Daily Planet and they're like, "Hey Clark, welcome to the planet. Love this job. Hey, shall we go to the game next week? Yeah, why not? We haven't just been through some serious fucking trauma." Like,
I know.
Everything is fine.
There's an element of hand waving. I get it. It's an element of...
Also, the city looks great. Don't worry about it. We rebuild this quick.
Maybe it's a year later. You don't know.
Maybe.
I mean, you never know. There probably is someone that knows. There's probably some... Bear in mind, there's been 3 sequels now, 2 sequels. Someone's probably worked out that timeline. No, I just think... I think I would fix this, and I said this to you the other day. If I was going to make a conscious choice to this, to improve this, I would maybe remove the bits where Superman is actively causing the distress and the harm. It would be a lot. It would be a lot easier to reconcile with this ending if Superman was trying to steer Zod in a way that wasn't go up. Go up in the air.
Just go somewhere else. Just
he's left a lot of other Kryptonians there. He's trying to deal with it.
They're all dead by the time he's having the fight with Zod.
Yeah, but
they're all in the Phantom Zone. Zod's the only one left.
That's true. Yeah, I suppose so.
So just go somewhere else. Because he is, at that point, I was watching it closely, I was like, is it just Zod pushing Clark through buildings? Because that's not really on him. I'll forgive him.
Yeah.
But it's not. It's Clark just straight up grabbing hold of him and then flying him through a building as that building collapses onto another building, which then crumbles down as people scream and fall to their deaths. So there's just no forgiving that for me.
That's fine.
You can say what you want. You can say it's his first day. You can say he made a mistake. That's a mistake Superman shouldn't make. It's just not. And I get, it takes time for Superman to be Superman, but why even make a Superman movie then? If we're gonna have this character not be Superman.
Yeah, I do see where you're coming from.
And if you are gonna do that, at least stick to it. At least follow it through.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Don't then be like, no, I'm hopeful actually.
So there was a moment where I did start laughing, where it was like, it's not directly after, but in my mind, it's how I like kind of perceive the events. Superman goes to a church and is like, "It's me. I'm the dude.
It's me."
And the priest is like,
I'm the problem, it's me.
Good, very good.
Bit of Taylor.
Yep, thanks. But he's like, yeah, I'm that guy, and she's like, the priest is like, oh, okay.
Bit weird.
Yeah, cheers. Thanks for letting me know. He leaves, and the scene is very much so like a do what you got to do situation. You know, this is your choice to make. I'm not going to tell you what it's your responsibility. It's up to you. It's in your hands. The next scene, or very soon after that, is Superman having this kind of realization, this moment of time to accept responsibility for this, and then just picks Zod up and throws him through like 8 water towers, and it's very. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe it's the framing or how it's shot or whatever, but it's very comical that it's just still frame, and then Superman's like, "I'm gonna fucking kill you." Just fucking absolutely punching the shit out of him, being like, "You trying to kill my mum? I'll fuck you up." Whilst meanwhile doing more, like, you know, Zod might have a bruise at the end of the day, but probably 20 people died in that instance alone.
What do you think of the neck snap?
I'm fine with it.
A very highly controversial point of the movie.
I think that people picking that as the most controversial part of the movie is odd. Like, I think it's fine. What's he gonna do? He's dead. Right, he's gotta die.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean,
yeah, he puts him in a
Does he have to die?
Zod?
Okay, I don't have a problem with Superman killing. Superman will kill when he has to.
Yeah.
All right?
Yeah.
I don't have some moral... Superman doesn't have some moral objectification to it like Batman does.
Yeah.
That's never been a part of his character.
No.
Okay? If he needs to kill, he'll kill.
Yeah.
That's not a problem. All right? And he'll kill half of Metropolis too, apparently. But...
it's not a problem.
But it's just... There's something about the brutality of that death. It's just so personal. And it's just
But I think it is personal for a reason.
Why?
Right. To me, Zod, and this is something I kind of came to terms with as well, and I'm not trying to be like, oh, you haven't realised this, because it may not even be true. It's just my interpretation of it. Everything in a Zack Snyder movie is symbolic of something. Every character represents a theme. Every choice made is Zack saying something about the film. And I think that Zod's entire thing in this, I mean, quite literally, is the survival of Krypton. And Krypton's entire thing in this is we're not worth saving. And at the end of it, it's I think snapping the neck in such a, you know, visceral and painful and brutal way is Clark's definitive statement that he will always, like, I'm trying to think of a way to phrase this, doesn't sound wanky, but like he will always prioritize what he believes over his people. You know, it doesn't matter that
he's chosen Earth as his home.
Yeah. And anyone that comes in the way of that is gonna meet the fucking same end, kind of thing.
I would very much agree with you.
Yeah.
If about 10 minutes earlier there wasn't a scene where where Zod and Superman were both in the spaceship and Zod screamed, "If you destroy this ship, Krypton will never be back." And then Superman says, "Krypton had its chance," and blows the ship up.
Is that why do you
essentially making that choice?
But Zod is still the last remaining cesspit of shit to come out of Krypton.
Yeah, but he's still... There's no coming back for Krypton at that point. I understand what you're saying. He is the last Kryptonian remaining.
Yeah.
But Clark has already physically made that choice that he's chosen Earth over Krypton. He literally says Krypton had its chance and then destroys it, proving that he's chosen Earth over Krypton.
So, but then I think it's cleanup. Like I don't think what you're saying disproves my interpretation of the ending.
Yeah, all right, fine, it's cleanup. But then what? I'm not trying to disprove your interpretation of the ending.
No, but like
I'm just saying why it doesn't hold true for me and why I personally don't like it. It's for me it is. It's personal, but it's too personal. It's too much of. It's framed in a way of him having no other choice. And him needing to do it to save the family or whatever. But just the brutality of snapping someone's neck, it's just so hands-on and so brutal in a way that Superman should never be. It's like seeing Spider-Man grab a knife and stab someone. Do you know what I mean?
No, I do. And it's
just not something that should happen.
Yeah, it's not pretty in the movie, and it's not... it's not the typical way. Typically, if you're going to see Superman take someone down, it'll laser vision or a big strong punch, right?
Yeah.
I get that, but I just think that like how this should be handled is in a defiant. He's not stopping him killing the family. He is, but it's more of a statement. It's more of the full stop on Krypton. It's more of the defining statement. This is the end. It's done. I finished it. It's over.
But that's sure, he can make that statement, but the trouble for me is he's still making that statement in a way that isn't Superman. In a
Fair
way
enough.
that isn't becoming to Superman.
Yeah.
And if this is your ending point of the movie in terms of the action and stuff,
Yeah.
if this is the final thing that Superman is going to do, this is how you're choosing to end the movie, the final act of Superman in this movie, you really want that to be, that final act, to be everything the character stands against? Really? The character of hope and, the embodiment of doing the right thing and being kind. At the end, he snaps someone's neck, and then he's just screaming in anguish. That's Superman? Not for me.
No, that's fair. It's fair, and like I said, I don't really have much of an argument to it in more a sense of because I don't. Superman's not a character I'm that familiar with or have much of an emotional connection to, so I can see.
And that's fine. I'm not trying to gatekeep Superman.
No.
And be like, if you know Superman, you shouldn't like this. You can like what you like. That's fucking fine.
Yeah.
Just for me personally, it's just too much of a departure, and it's just.
It's the
I
equivalent
just can't
of
get on board with the choices that are made.
comic-wise. I guess it's the equivalent of your least favorite writer has taken a run at something you hold dear, and you don't agree with it. But it is. You can't argue. It quite literally is a Superman movie. It just might not be the one for you. Well, no, Nathan,
I'd have a good
it's on the
go
tin.
at
It's on the tin.
Technically, it's not on the tin though, is it?
I mean, no. Is Man of Steel? Is that not like a thing? Like the Dark Knight, the Man of Steel? Is that
an unofficial nickname, I guess.
Yeah.
Like, is there a movie called Webhead?
No, but Man of Steel sounds cooler than Webhead. Yeah.
Yeah. I do not like this movie.
That's fine.
I do not like any of its sequels.
Where are you at with? No, I don't like the sequels either. Where are you at with Lois Lane?
It's just fine, I guess.
I don't know much about her character. To me, Lois Lane is Amy Adams. That's all I know about Lois Lane.
There's nothing egregious about her character. There's nothing amazing about her, really.
I think she's written well. She's not a bumbling love interest. There's some dialogue in this that I'm like, I don't like that. When
isn't he hot?
Yeah, accomplished army woman, right? Very much so. Like,
bloody hell, he's hot.
Sat right next to this fucking decorated general. She clearly knows her stuff. Clearly has had a growing, nice career. Just completely melts into this feminine seductress when she's confronted with a man 100 feet away from her in the art.
Just a giggling schoolgirl.
Yeah.
Just being like,
sorry, General. He's so hot though. Tee-hee.
Give him my number.
Do you think he'll give me a kiss?
She went home and wrote her initials plus SM on her book.
Yeah. That was a little bit like, well done. That's good. Yeah, no, I don't know. I just think
she's got a point though. He is hot.
He is hot. Yeah, it's true. Yeah, he's a good looking guy. Also,
I have noticed recently. We may have spoken about it on the podcast before, but bald casting.
Yeah.
Anyone who is bald will be fan casted as Lex Luthor. Or something.
I love bald casting.
Yeah, I feel like blonde casting is the new bald casting.
Okay, show your work.
Anyone who is blonde or stars in a Netflix original series where they wear a blonde wig will inevitably be fan cast as a Targaryen in House of the Dragon or whatever. Because I've been seeing a lot of fan art as
taken from
Henry
The
Cavill
Witcher.
Yeah, in his Geralt outfit, but then he's just got Targaryen armor on him. And, like,
and it's just, it's actually just the
thing,
Witcher's armor. They've put the sigil on it. Like,
they've just put a dragon.
Yeah. There's just a PNG dragon in the background. Remember this Westeros legend? Yeah. No, you're right. You're absolutely right. No, I just think this is. It's an extremely divisive movie. That's the whole reason we've done it, is because it is a divisive movie, and I think there's an interesting conversation to be had from it.
I don't like it.
That's fair. I think it's,
and I never will.
I think it's an interesting selection of themes and some good exploration in there of those themes, and that's fine.
I think it has a good opening, and then you can skip the rest.
Just, I wonder what happened to Krypton in the end.
Well, it blew up.
No, that's if you never watched that. Oh yeah, you do
Not really. For all you know, Zod and his men are in the Phantom Zone, so that's them taken care of.
No, Zod's. Oh, I mean, yeah, that's true. Yeah, they'll come back.
Clark Cal went to another planet, lived a happy life. Nothing out of the ordinary happened.
Died of old age. Loved it.
Had
a good time.
Yeah.
Wasn't resurrected by Ezra Miller doing a run or something. I don't know.
Unless we talk about Ezra Miller.
That's true. That's very true. Yeah. All right, cool. Nathan, I don't know if you remember this, almost an hour and 10 minutes ago on recording time. Maybe it's less. Who knows? But what we normally do at the start of these podcasts, and maybe as a listener you have skipped towards the end, because...
You haven't.
Sorry?
You haven't.
I haven't. I've been here.
Yeah.
The nature of this job, Nathan, is unfortunately I don't get to skip to the end.
I do.
How is it? What happened to Krypton in the end?
I don't know. I missed
You
it.
just skipped that one as well.
Yeah.
You went to the end of that.
Yeah.
What we do at the start, if you have skipped forward, is I ask Nathan a question. It's sometimes about the thing that we're talking about, sometimes just more of a kind of a general question. And I give him about 40 minutes to an hour, typically the time we record for, to come up with an answer. And at the start of this podcast, I asked him, in spirit with how I've changed my mind on Man of Steel. I asked Nathan if...
The way you said my mind then, you kind of misspoke and it sounded like Borat. You're like, my mind!
Good. A Borat joke in 2022 is what we all love.
It's nice.
Fucking hell. It's made even more threatening by the fact that you're just twirling a kiwi in your hands as well.
I am.
That's your second kiwi of the last hour.
It's like my third.
Fucking hell. Secret kiwis I don't know about.
Love a kiwi.
You're not going to eat it now, are you?
No, this is why I'm just waiting.
Oh, you're waiting. You're like, I know the wrap-up's coming. Time to prepare my kiwi. I asked Nathan at the start of this if there was a piece of art that he'd finished, completed, watched the entirety of, experienced the entirety of, and had a concrete opinion on it, which he's then done a 180 turn on. He's then re-reviewed in his mind and gone, nope, I've completely changed how I feel about this thing.
I have, and we've actually done an episode on it.
Oh.
And maybe I mentioned it during the episode.
Oh.
I cannot remember.
If we've done an episode on it, you probably did mention it at one point in that episode.
Yeah, I probably did.
How it works.
500 Days of Summer.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, when I first saw 500 Days of Summer, I was in a relationship at the time.
And you were a big incel.
No, obviously not.
You went, girls are the problem. This is outrageous. Tom has been done dirty here.
Shut up! I went to see it with my girlfriend, and at the time I was like, boring rom-com, chick flick. I'll sit here bored while she enjoys the movie. And
the old ball and chain dragging you out to the theatres.
Yeah, I had no fun with it at the time. I was probably too young to understand a lot of the actual context and subtleties of it.
Yeah.
Then once we broke up, well, not once, but sometime after we broke up, I watched the movie again for some reason, and then all the stuff about the actual breakup pain, for some reason, that spoke to me, and I was like, oh no, I actually like this movie.
Oh no,
this is actually good.
I miss her so much. I'm gonna call her.
Yeah, so
fair enough. Yeah, if you I remember us having almost that exact conversation. You can go and experience the full version of that. We promise it wasn't a clip. It was just just us. You do this long enough, you're going to have some similar conversations after a while. You can go listen to that full episode that we've got out. I think that was like 30 episodes ago or something?
Maybe. I don't know.
I lose,
It was a bit ago.
I lose track.
I was at my old place. So
Yeah.
I've moved twice since then. So.
You've moved twice since... Oh, yeah,
but
yeah.
I moved like within like 3 months.
That's a half move. I think where you moved to and then where you moved out from. I think that doesn't count.
It was like a stop in.
Yeah.
Kind of. Yeah.
And you'll
But I
never
did
know
physically
where he
move
moved to. Don't know why I kept that cagey. You live with your dad for a bit.
I lived with my dad for a bit.
Yeah. It weren't anything like. Oh yeah, Nathan moved into I don't know a fucking underground lake or something.
Cracked down.
Yeah.
I moved into the bat cave for a month.
He moved into the Superman's weird ship in the
Fortress
middle of
of Solitude.
That's it. Is that what it's called?
Yeah. Well, that's what it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
But it's not really.
What does he do there? It's like the same Krypton issue, isn't it? He just goes there to hang out.
It's a Fortress of Solitude. It's where he goes to be alone.
I have a room for that. Shut the door. You're still a regular human. I don't have a fortress of solitude.
He's got a big fortress in the North Pole or whatever, where he can go and be like, "Oh, I'm Superman. I'm sad." And then he'll talk to his dad and be like, "Dad, I'm sad," and he'll be like, "I am the disembodied head of Jor-El."
Is Jor-El always there?
Well, yeah, he's kind of there. It's not really Jor-El. It's like the same thing.
It's a bit shit he didn't upload a fucking consciousness of his mum, isn't it?
This is something that's been discussed many times.
Like, fuck her, I guess. She doesn't want to know. I mean, I
Don't worry, Lara. I'm just uploading the consciousness of myself so our son can communicate with me after we've long dead. What about me? Nah,
don't worry, you're not needed.
you're not needed.
You're not needed.
Just me.
Yeah, the people. See, if you come as well, we have to pay you for the rest of the film too. We don't want to do that. Good time. We'd highly recommend you go check out this movie from 9 years ago, almost 10 years ago.
We wouldn't.
What do you think about him coming back?
I would recommend you go and watch. If you want to watch some good Superman stuff, watch Lois and Clark, the CW series.
Is it called Lois and Clark?
Probably not. Superman and Lois, I think it is.
Yeah, I think so, because they want to get the Superman name in there, wouldn't they?
Yeah, it's Superman and Lois, I think.
Superman and his girlfriend.
Some...
The hit new CW show.
I think there was like a comic book that was like Lois Lane, the girlfriend of Superman.
That doesn't shock me at all. Superman and his baddie. Here she is.
But no, a genuinely good show. Tyler Hoechlin as Clark and Superman, and
he's good. From what I've seen from him, he's great.
He is really good, and it's something that actually understands the character of Superman.
Oh no, come on! Don't blame Henry Cavill for anything you don't like.
No, I'm not blaming Henry. No, when I said that, I mean like something as in the show, not
okay.
the actor. Okay, I feel like Henry. I'd love to see a Superman movie with Henry, and this is why I'm excited that he's back, and you know it seems to be under different leadership now, because I would really like to see a Superman Henry Cavill movie that is more true to what Superman should be, because I think he'd be great at it. He'd really do it well if he got to actually embody the character.
Well, I think with James Gunn, what now, like co-CEO of DC Studios, whatever the fuck that means. Yeah. Zack Snyder's definitely not coming back to work with Warner Brothers again. Interesting. I've seen a lot of clips of Henry Cavill like explicitly being like, I'm very excited to come back and play a happy Superman. Yeah. So that could be interesting. Yeah.
And as bad as it was, Joss Whedon's Justice League, like the ending of that movie had a more hopeful and quite upbeat Superman. Sure, you don't look at his lip, but the actual characterization of him was quite good towards the end of the movie.
See, I didn't like that. Like, it wasn't because I liked seeing a happier iteration. It was more, it felt so half-baked by Joss Whedon.
I really want to eat my kiwi.
Okay, that's fine. We'll wrap it up. Next week, we are going to be doing this.
I want to go to Honolulu.
Charles, what are you wearing?
It's my Hawaiian hula skirt.
And I promise we won't trick you again.
It's the same clip as last
It's
week.
the same clip as I'm just going to put it back in. So yeah, we are actually going to be doing that, but it's not the next time we're recording, Nathan, is it? And he couldn't wait for his kiwi. He had to just eat it right there and then. I was literally wrapping up and being done. But yeah, it's not the next time we're recording, is it, Nathan? Next time we're recording, I hope you're not going to be eating a kiwi.
Oh, well.
Goodbye, everyone. We'll see you next week.
See you next week.
Have a kiwi on us.
Have a kiwi on us and kill your dad.
No, why do you always make it hard for me to wrap you up? I always have to cut you.
I'm not saying that. It's fucking Zack Snyder who's saying that.
Let a big strong
He's
gust
the
of
one.
wind sweep Kevin Costner off.
Yeah. Rip to Kevin Costner. He loved the wind or whatever.
He done.
Anyway, bye.
Bye.